is officially open. PhD, and Abdul Kamarudin, SPD, MED, PhD. Now it's time for me to invite the secretary to read SK.
Thank you very much, Prof. Tersampaikan Fakultas Turun dan Pendidikan nomor 1769 SPM 28.1 IKM 01 SPM 2024 tentang Fakultas Turun dan Pendidikan Universitas Tembakau tentang Fakultas Turun dan Pendidikan Tembakau Menimbang dan seterusnya, mengingat dan seterusnya, memutuskan menetapkan mereka yang namanya tertulis dalam lampiran sebagai penyelenggara tesis mahasiswa nama Bapak Ujian Istanbul A122-23-096 program studi Magister Pendidikan Bahasa Inggris. Keputusan ini mulai berlaku pada penetapan dengan ketentuan apabila dipindah ke data turun dalamnya akan dilakukan perbaikan secara pastinya tetap Palu pada tanggal 5 Desember 2002 kita berkepentingan masih ini tertera. Kemudian lampiran 1 Dr. Dr. Mawari Said Umum mengangkat dalam jabatan sebagai ketua, Menteri SPDN dan PhD sebagai sekretaris, Dr. Hajar Sriatus Hukum sebagai pembahas, Profesor Dr. Amina SPDN PhD sebagai anggota, Dr. Arif Malam yang PhD sebagai 1 dan Dr. SPDN PhD sebagai 2 dengan Dr. Jamal Informasi. Ini kita demikian.
Now it is time for Lola Dwi Yulianti
Of the thesis examination, Honorable SPD, MED, PhD, as the secretary of the thesis examination, Honorable Ma'am Professor Dr. Hajar Sriatus as the reviewer of my research, Honorable Ma'am Professor Dr. Amina SPD, MPD, MED, as the co-reviewer of my research, Honorable Sir Dr. Andes Haji Mohtar Madhum, MED, PhD, as my supervisor, Honorable Sir Abdul Kamarudin SPD, MED, PhD, as my co-supervisor. Thank you for the opportunity that is given to me. Today I'm going to present the abstract of my research with title Pronunciation Problems of English Segmental Sounds Encountered by Earful Learners of English Education Study Program. The challenge of mastering English pronunciation poses significant problems of Indonesian students who are accustomed to their native language. The English Education Study Program aims to cultivate proficient English speakers. However, many learners struggle with pronunciation despite this goal. This research aims to investigate the pronunciation problems encountered by earful learners and to find out the underlying factors affecting the problems. Utilizing a descriptive qualitative approach, the research involved 20 participants of third semester English Education Study Program. Data were gathered through pronunciation tests, questionnaires, and interviews. The findings reveal that the primary pronunciation problems lie in segmental features, particularly with fricative consonant sounds, the sounds v, the, j, th, and z, as well as vowel sounds, the sound e, o, u, and a. These problems predominantly arise due to interference of L1, leading to systematic substitutions with more familiar sounds. Additionally, inconsistencies in English phonetics and the divergence between written and spoken forms exacerbate these problems. The research identifies 4 main factors affecting pronunciation problems. The first is the influence of native language, the second is age, the third is amount of exposure to English, and the fourth is phonetic coding ability. The implication of this research suggests that instructors incorporate phonetics training into their curriculum to aid students in improving their pronunciation skills. That's all the abstract of my research. Thank you very much, and I will give it back to Professor Martin.
Now it is time for me to invite the main examiner, Dr. Hajar Sriyati Usman, Professor
Professor.
Jesse Usman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the chairperson, Profesor Dr. Mawati Kampung. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good morning, everyone. Congratulations, Lola Dwi Yulianti, you have completed your thesis. Because this is thesis examination, therefore I provide you only 3 questions. Yeah. The first one is, would you like to prove the problems faced by the students related to the sounds of the thing? Yeah. Maybe you can show us through your recording.
Yes.
Yes. I just would like to confirm, yeah, what we have done. Is there any recording of
The recordings,
student sound?
yes. Yes, ma'am. These are the recordings because I had this research included 20 participants, and
Okay.
I also have 20 recordings of the learner's pronunciation. For example, this one.
And you don't need to show all, yeah?
Yes.
Only 3 or 4 or 5.
This is the actually we can hear it clearly if we use like headphones, ma'am. Yes. And this is for the first participants. I think it is the sound is small because I
with speaker, yeah?
because I joined the Microsoft Teams, ma'am. I'm on the meeting right now with Sir Abdul Kamaruddin, so the sounds from the recording is small. And this is the transcription of the pronunciation of the learners. I write it, I make it into a second transcription because I want to make sure that
Can you show through your, is there any soft copy in your notebook?
yes, ma'am, but in here, not in my
So you can
Yes.
transmit to screen, yeah?
Oh yes, ma'am. I think I can show you in the tablet, ma'am.
Yeah, you don't need to show. Okay, yeah, it's okay, I believe you. Next questions. As you know that there are many researchers who have conducted their research related to your topic.
Great.
Could you explain what
Why?
are
Great.
it different from your research?
It is about the
Why
novelty, ma'am.
more?
Yeah. I think there are several novelty. Yes, I believe that there are several novelty in of my research. The first is, although the previous research is also focused on the pronunciation problems of English segmental sounds, but in some previous research only focus on they are limiting the focus into just consonant sounds or only vowel sounds, and some also only focus on the sounds that are the English sounds that are not existing there in the research conducted by Rahman. It is on the page. It is on the chapter 2, ma'am. Yes. And then, but in my research, this research is included both the consonant sounds and also the vowel sounds. And the second is some of the previous research only focused to find out the pronunciation problems without finding out more about the factors affecting the problems, ma'am. For example, the research conducted by Al-Tate, and it is conducted in Sudan, so it is Arabic-speaking country, ma'am. And the novelty of my research is because my research also finding is not only trying to find out the pronunciation problems, but also investigating the pronunciation problem factors. And,
Narasa.
yes.
Last question. What is the beneficial for the reader?
There are several there are several implications of my research. The first is it can be a reference or an insight for the readers, especially like the lecturers and the teachers, so they can adopt or develop new strategies or the existing strategies to teach English pronunciation, especially the English segmental sounds, and particularly to the English sounds that are not existing but in our native language map. And then the second is the readers, especially the students or the learners, can identify their pronunciation problems by reading the result of my research, and they can try to overcome their pronunciation problems by utilizing digital tools, because the learners in this research claim that they have a negative impact from their environment, because their environment are not using English in their daily activities. So they have to, they can still have a choice to use digital tools in this digital era, so they can take advantage on social media, and then like on the video games, just like what the informant claims before. That's all.
Okay, I think that's all for me. And so, that's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now, I invite Professor Dr. Raja Amina SPD, MPD, to ask questions.
Waalaikumsalam. Morning.
I think I have
No,
done.
no, I
think.
Yeah, Mahasiswa.
Yes,
Because you are an expert.
What have you done? I have done a research
You
that
will be an expert.
I'm really interested in, because I got the result from this. I answered the research questions.
The reason why question, what have you done? Of course, you have already done research, but of course, your response, I really want you to express what have you done relating with the research that you have already conducted.
Because my research
No,
is.
I'm not asking why. There is no because. I'm not asking why.
The very first thing
What
that
you
I've
have
done
done, yeah.
is pronunciation test now, and I conducted my pronunciation test in English Education Study Program by collaborating with the lecturer in the speaking class. And then after conducting the pronunciation test, I analyzed the data by transcribing the data for the pronunciation recordings of the learners, and then identifying the classification of the consonant and the vowel sounds. And then
What have you got from your research?
I've got that the pronunciation problems encountered by the learners are related to the fricative sounds, while in the vowel sounds is related to the long vowels.
Okay, so you have got some problem related with the student pronunciation. So what is it for?
Because we are
Because again.
bukan because.
This research,
Iya.
this research,
Yeah. My word.
the benefit of this research, is it can help the students and the learners of English Education Study Program to identify their pronunciation problems, so they can master the English pronunciation, because they are going to be an English teacher in the future.
Okay, you found the problem that you found the factors affecting pronunciation problem of the students, but you didn't try to provide how to solve the problem. based on reading, based on theory. You only provide this one. Everybody can get it. So, you know, we go to the field and then research and then we found this is, but as a researchers, you try to provide how to solve this problem. But I can see here in your abstract, this is the same question that I raised to you the last. But you try to search how to solve this problem, this factor affecting. Like you say that the influence of native language, how to solve it. So everyone have native language. Relating that this is become a problem on mastering second language acquisition or the pronunciation. At least there is a theory to at least minimize the problem. So, but you didn't try to provide that how to solve this. Remember that my question?
Actually, I didn't elaborate it more in my thesis, but I just mentioned it like a
So what is it for
way.
conducting the research? So we try to find the cause. No solution. As a researchers, we have to provide based our reading, so we elaborate with previous studies. Yeah, it's not only it's supposed to, but it must as a researcher, because that's one become of your novelty. Isn't it, bro? So it's, yeah, you have to solve that this is the way I solve the problem that I found in my research. And then the novelty is not comparing with previous one. Previous one conducting this one, but not try to comparing. But the novelty of yours, what have you done? Like you found the problem and then you the solution. The solution is not coming from personally from you, but based on your reading, elaborate from many kinds of resources. Yeah, I can also like age. So I told the younger students try to do practice their pronunciation, the better will be. But you didn't try to explore here how age affect the students' pronunciation. So that's why we need to know about it. Everybody can say, yeah, age has become maybe because they never practice, they never use second language. That's why once they speak, the first time they speak in English, quite difficult to pronounce that because it will not become a habit. So how to solve that? If you try to read more than. So have you published your article?
I just submitted the.
You have submitted.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, so when you submit it, try to provide that because this is become a novelty of yours. Yeah. Then also the implication, you put here the implication as a suggestion. You have to differentiate between implication and suggestion. Yeah. The implication, maybe the implication to the lecturer, so who told pronunciations, or to us because you try to conduct your research in English department, so at least you promote that this has become a problem and then how to solve it, so we know about that. Yeah. And okay, and also amount of exposure to English. So I thought the students English department every time try to practice their English. So if you try to elaborate how the students get a problem, although they have already tried, they join a class, they have pronunciation class, but if you provide the cause of death is not only putting exposure, amount of exposure to English. What? Yeah. Is it? Does it make sense?
Yes, bro.
Yeah, I told you in research finding. Ya, itu akan lebih bagus sekali kalau sebenarnya Itu yang anda lakukan. Not only put age become. Ibu tampak turun di lapangan membaca buku, pasti saya sudah bisa dapatkan. Tapi itu untuk confirm apa yang anda sudah baca, anda mengambil data dan itu sudah dielaborate. Nah, ini yang age menjadi permasalahan dalam pronunciation karena kenapa. Amount of exposure to English itu, or how is it affecting to students' pronunciation and others. Okay? Okay, so maybe you may simplify about it instead of just putting such kind of that. Yeah, at least in your article. Karena ini yang mungkin akan dilihat. Okay, last question. What encounters you during conducting the research?
I found that the learners really have a problem in pronunciation math, although they already passed the pronunciation class and they also already learned about the phonetics in the previous semester, but I still find a big problems in their pronunciation math, especially when they try to read a whole sentences.
Okay, how did you know that they have a problem?
Because
How?
I know it because I know it by when
Kalau itu tidak bisa diukur loh.
I get it when I conducted the pronunciation test in the class F9, and I also observed how they pronounce when they're repeating the words, when they're reading the words, the list of words, and also the target words in the sentences. And I found that they really have problems in English pronunciation, especially with the sounds, the English sounds that are not exist in Bahasa Indonesia.
When talking about encounter, when we conducting a research, so that's come from us, the encounter us as a researchers. The one that you told us is a student problem. But my question refers to you, encounter you when you conducting a research, like time management or other thing. Do you understand my
Yes,
question?
ma'am. Actually, I'm sorry, ma'am. Actually, I encountered problem in the time for conducting the interview, ma'am, because when I conducted the third techniques of data collection, which is interview, the students are just entering the new semester and they will feel that they have a lot of tasks to do, a lot of campus thing to complete, and we have to make an appointment to conduct the interview. But after all, we finished the interview, and they are really informative and contributing to my research.
So initially they quite hesitate to provide to be interviewed.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So all right. Okay, I think that's from me. Back to the chairperson.
Now it's time for me to invite Dr. Anda Saji.
Secretary first.
Okay. Now I invite Secretary Queen SPD and PhD to ask questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. One again. Yes. So, Lola Ujian, first of all, I'd like to congratulate you. I'd like to congratulate you on getting your
Yeah.
manuscript.
Over online.
Today you are defending your thesis. I just just want to let's say to confirm about something, and also I'm asking you related to the findings. Here you stated that there are 4 problems you identified.
Yes.
The third problem is the amount of exposure to English. Can you describe or clarify this point? So how was the amount of students' exposure to English?
Yes, the third factor affecting the pronunciation problems in my research is the amount of exposure to English. Based on the findings of the questionnaire, the learners claims that they are 75% of them are rarely use English in their in outside the classroom, and they also reveal that 70% of the students are not intensively learning English pronunciation in the high school. And moreover, in the interview, they also revealed that whenever they they reveal the reason why they choose they choose to agree that they really use English in outside the classroom, because they reveal that whenever they try to speak English in their environment, there are a lot of judgment from others in their environment. So that is what I say as negative impact from the environment. And almost all of the informants claims that the main challenge related to the pronunciation problems is from the environment, sir. So it is hard for them to get used to talk in English, because in their environment is because they didn't have someone to talk to by using this English. But the negative impact of from their environment makes the students try to find like alternative to practice their English, and some of them claims that they often use TikTok and Instagram to expose to English, and some also practice their English through online video games.
Okay. Yes. Actually, when we talk about pronunciations, we can expose to pronunciation resources through many input activities, like example listening or watching.
Yeah.
So, how was the exposure to input in practice, like listening or watching YouTube, for example, or access to, let's say, a podcast or any digital sources?
One of the informant mentioned that she learned English pronunciation mostly from TikTok, because there are. I also saw that in social media there are a lot of influencers that aims to share how to improve the pronunciation, or like the tips in using English as a foreign language. And the informant claimed that that is really helpful for her, because of it is hard for her to practice their English pronunciation in her daily life. And some also claims that he is a gamer, and he often practice their English through the microphone, to like Discord and something like that.
Right. So, in terms of the frequency, do they expose to those digital resources very often, or for how long, I guess?
Based on the findings of this research, because the informant revealed that they mostly use social media, and also we live in a digital era. I believe that the students, the learners in this study mostly use their gadget and especially their social media in their daily activity.
Yes, but do they exposed to English resources or something else? Even though, for example, they use or they engage with social media, but some of the students, they don't use that as a resource, as a sources for growing their English. Right? So I think you, let's say here, if you think that they exposed to English, I mean, using media for a long time, so I think there should be impact on their pronunciation, right? So, but in this case, it didn't as well, right? So, right, so that's why one of the implications actually for, because we talked about how they inform digital resources or even social media to improve their pronunciation. So how teachers can promote them to English autonomously. So like, let's say, not only count on, let's say, in the class activity, but also teachers and promote students to expose to these digital sources. So being independent learners, yeah, or autonomous learners. So there are lots of resources out there that teachers sometimes incorporate it in their teaching, right? So something you become implications of your study, how students can be encouraged to self-study or self-engage to those, let's say, digital resources, and to promote engaging in informal learning English, right? So using, let's say, social media, so that's why Prof. Amina tried to suggest you to provide implications. Actually. So that's practical implication, one of the practical implications. So, and also for the student themselves. So probably you provide lots of tools that they can improve their pronunciations, right? Using probably, let's say, movies, for example, or movies that can, let's say, they can improve their English or their emotions, something. So here are the suggestions or the implications to generals, not really. I think not quite practical, here for lecture like us, or instructors, teachers at schools, or even for students as well. So I believe that when students exposed to, let's say, English, either in quantity and in quality, so their pronunciation will be impacted. So I guess the equal as well. So the more they expose to those digital media or social media examples, so the better their listening skill or pronunciation or English will be enhanced as well. So there's something you need to relate with the implications of this. Right, so I think that's all. So thank you very much. And the topic from
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Now it is time for me to ask questions.
Don't too many questions.
Yeah, not so many,
Don't bring.
but the principal point. Yeah.
Minum dulu,
Minum dulu.
Iya. Kok minumnya?
Ya, tenang.
Sudah biasa.
Ya. It,
Rasa-rasa sendiri ya.
I ask you some questions. Yeah. I got information and good questions from Prof. Amina about the problem. It's good comments. We talk about pronunciation problems, but you didn't express what problem is. Do you understand what I mean? You talk about problems, but I do hope you can express the definition of problem. What is problem?
For me, problems is a difficulty.
Problem is
It's a
difficult.
kind of, yeah, it's a difficulty, and especially in my research, it is a difficulty of the learners in trying to having an accurate pronunciation.
Yeah, if there is no difficulties, but the students cannot express the accurate pronunciation, is it also problem or not? Do you understand what I mean? Kalau tidak ada kesulitan, tapi dia salah, tidak sulit, tapi dia salah, berarti bukan problem.
It's still a problem. Yeah.
So it's not a problem. Difficulty is not a problem. Yeah, but can be included in it. Ya, kesulitan itu bukan definisi masalah. A problem is discrepancy, kesenjangan between what
And the reality.
what should happen and what has happened. The solemn and the same. The same and the solemn. The difference between hope and reality. Perbedaan antara harapan dengan kenyataan. Oke, itulah sama saya. And what is the problem? The main problem dealing with your research and how to make solution. Give me one.
For example, the problem is the inconsistency of English phonetics, and this problem actually also already happened in every previous research I found from, and it is also aligned with ULE at 1996. That's stated that there's a
Give me example of phonetics.
The phonetics, it is, for example, the word flat. The word flat in this research, all of the learners in this research have failed to pronounce the word flat, F-L-O-O-D.
Do you know the difference between phonetics and phonology?
Yes.
Yeah.
The
How do you differentiate them?
phonology is about the system of the language,
Yeah.
while phonetics is about the
Yeah.
speech sounds.
So you have explained about system. It is phonology. I ask you about phonetics. Okay? Now, you should be able to make strict difference between phonology and phonetics. That's why in this thesis, you cannot express the difference among pronunciation, spelling, phonology, and phonetics. Sorry ya, terkocak kacir di dalam ini, kecuali yang belum mempelajari phonetics and phonology. Phonology is a grammar dealing with sound system of language. Ingat dulu itu ya, sudah memahami itu.
Yes, Pak.
Dia masuk grammar, but dealing with atau a scientific study of sound systems of language. Sudah paham di situ.
Yes, Pak.
Whereas phonetics is dealing with
This sounds
sounds of language. Dari sistem bunyi ada di phonology. Bunyinya ada di
phonetics.
phonetics. Jadi kalau saya mencari contoh phonetics, bunyinya. Ya, if we talk about sounds, ya bedakan lagi pronunciation and spelling. Ya, apa bedanya? Jadi tadi phonology sistem bunyi. Bunyinya ada pada phonetics. Ya, bunyi yang ada di phonetics itu ada kadang-kadang kau bilang pronunciation, kadang kau bilang spelling. Apa bedanya? Gitu. Itulah tesis. Jadi tidak sembarangan mengungkapkan, sehingga
Spelling and
apa bedanya itu nak? What is the difference between pronunciation and spelling?
When the pronunciation, it is related to the sounds to
Mhm.
make meaning, the sounds of the words to make meaning, while spelling is the written form.
Yeah, for example of spelling.
For example, spelling is the word good, FLOOD, while the pronunciation is flat.
Kau bisa, tapi kenyataan di sini spelling semua yang kau ungkapkan pronunciation. Ngerti nggak?
Yeah.
Kalau saya mengatakan, ya, kalau mengatakan table, itu spelling atau pronunciation?
Pronunciation.
Ya spellingnya
TADLE.
kebanyakan di sini. Saya belum melihat spesifiknya pronunciation. Spelling semua ini. Kau meneliti spelling, padahal judulmu pronunciation. Itu
translate-nya ada ya, translate.
diedit naya. Jadi saya seperti arahan Prof. Sia Usman, kami di sini.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Mawardin, for the opportunity, and good morning, everyone. Lola Dewi Yulianti. I go first because I have another commitment to attend the Udisium graduation.
Tidak ada di
Pak Mawardin.
Yes, lagi ini
Okay.
lagi meeting sama.
meeting ya setelah
Yeah.
itu.
Okay, thank you. I go first. Congratulations, Lola, for having completed the final draft of your thesis. Now you are defending it in front of reviewers. Well, the topic of your research studies is very interesting, dealing with pronunciation and spelling, phonology. When people use spoken English, spoken language, they can use I think, in my opinion. But when you write, academic writing, do not use I think, that's spoken language. But when you speak up, verbal language, spoken language, you can use I think. Oh, sorry for that, that's for suggestion only. Well, you should have incorporated contrastive analysis, since you deal with first language, second language, L1, L2, phonology, phonetics. You compare similarities, differences between L1, first language, and second language. It cannot be denied that the interference or influence of mother tongue or first language during second language learning or foreign language learning, experienced or encountered by learners, that's common, it's natural. Well, back to the topic of your research studies, you use or employ qualitative approach. Qualitative approach looking at the process, not the product, the result, the product. Since you are looking at the process, then it has nothing to do with the product. It's different from quantitative approach. In quantitative approach, researcher focus on the product, not the process. So it has nothing to do with problem solving or improving the result. That's quantitative approach. But I just wonder, since you use descriptive, qualitative, and numbers, so you still use mixed method actually. Okay. Why are you concerned with this topic?
All right. Actually, Prof, I put my personal interest in learning pronunciation, especially the English segmental sounds, and also it is based on my previous my experience when I was in S1. Although we have pronunciation class and then phonology class, and we already passed the class, but we still, until now in S2, I still realize that we as an English student, we still have problems in our pronunciation. We're still struggling in having correct pronunciation.
Yeah, very good. So you have been very interested in phonetics, in phonology, in pronunciations since you did your undergraduate degrees. And if I'm not mistaken, you were supervised by Ma'am Siska, eh?
No, sir. It was Sarnadrun and Ma'am Anjar, and you were my reviewer.
Okay. Your pronunciation is good. Learning pronunciations, the students should rely much on authentic materials. Native speakers' pronunciation. It reminds me, when I was in Australia, I have a friend from Malaysia. His pronunciation of English is near native. If you speak to him through telephone, and then you haven't seen him before, you haven't met him before, then you will think that he's a native speaker, but in fact he's a Malay boy. He's not Western, he's not native speaker, but his pronunciation is near native. And when it comes to the issues in contrastive analysis, comparing between L1 and L2, similarities and differences between phonology or phonetics of L1 and L2, then it is important to rely much on the teacher as linguistic model, but the teacher's pronunciation must be near native. I repeat, you deal with pronunciation, phonology, phonetics, so the contents should be authentic materials, should be associated with. So some reviewers raised questions and commented on the content of phonology, morphology, phonetics, etc. So as a researcher, student researcher, you deal with phonetics, phonology, pronunciation. Did you rely on authentic materials, learning and teaching materials from native speakers, or from Indonesian teachers that you found in the platform of social media or digital technology? Could you?
For me?
Yes.
Sure.
During your research studies?
During my research studies, I learn and I write my findings according to like online dictionaries, and also I myself learned English pronunciation from the native, like in the social media, in Instagram actually, because I didn't use TikTok.
Yeah. Nowadays, learners of English are very lucky. Well, they have access to learn native speakers' pronunciation, native speakers' speaking performance through lots of social media platforms or digital literacy, YouTube, and other Spotify, yeah? Podcast, Spotify, news, Twitter. In Twitter, not only literacy, reading and writing, but also discussion around the world. Every day I join Twitter X, that's right, Elon Musk. People from around the world discuss lots of issues. So when it comes to the issues in learning foreign language English, it is better for the students to join the discussion joined by native speakers of English from Australia, America, British, UK, so the students can imitate their pronunciation. Okay, I notice your conclusion is too wordy, too many words. You need to go straight forward, go to the conclusion, not jump to the conclusion, or go straight to the conclusion. So the key findings, summary of key findings that answer the research questions. Yeah. Well, that's it, Prof. Thank you very much.
PhD to ask questions.
Online.
Happen in this research because the native language affect when they try to pronounce the English words. For example, in the words valid, they tend to
What
pronounce
do you
it
mean
as
by
valid.
L1?
Native language, the first
Native
language.
language.
Yeah, the first
Yeah.
language.
Yeah, for example,
For
the
example,
intervention of L1 in pronunciation of English sound. Coba beri contoh satu saja intervensi L1 itu dalam English sound.
for example, in the word valid, Prof, the learners in this research tend to pronounce it as valid because in bahasa
Contoh,
Indonesia,
bukan penjelasannya, contoh saja. Kasih contoh saja, satu kata, dua kata, intervention of L1.
For example, in bahasa Indonesia we
In
pronounce
English yang diintervensi oleh L1 gitu maksudnya. Menarik penelitian
for example, the word tag, T-A-G, tag. The learners pronounce it as tag because in bahasa Indonesia we didn't spell K in the last.
Ini bilang L1 itu native-nya.
Ya,
Ini bahasa Indonesia.
bahasa Indonesia tidak.
Bahasa Indonesia kan bahasa keduanya mungkin bagi dia.
But they reveal that
Native yang dimaksud mother tongue.
bahasa Indonesia, their first language is bahasa Indonesia, sir.
Bahasa Indonesia.
No
Ya.
cleanliness, no
Iya,
goodness.
itu yang saya pikir itu. Seperti yang di Makassar itu. Saya ajarkan speaking, dia bilang speaking.
Speaking, ya.
Intervention. Karena di sana kalau ada G dia kurangi. Mawardin menjadi mawardin, dan justru ditambah.
What about Sir Mutar when he says Sir
Ngerti nggak?
Mutar?
Itu an intervention.
Please.
Do you know vernacular?
Benar-benar.
Itu cuma vernacular. Kenal vernacular nggak? Bahasa aslinya yang merupakan logatnya masih kental. Ya seperti menyanyinya Prof. Ahmad. Mantung.
Mantung. Benar.
Bahasa Indonesia tapi logat Jawa.
Ya.
Intervention itu.
Ebit gak ada.
By mother tongue.
Kaput.
Kaput.
Benar. Lagunya Ebit tapi logat Jawa.
Biar Prof berada di mana ya pas orang Jawa.
Semangking. Oh, anu, presiden. Ya, memang minta kenal sekali.
Kalau personal intervention of L1.
Kalau orang Gorontalo, persoalan lebih itu menjadi perkembangan.
Kosana komari.
Iya, telur.
Telur.
Ya kan?
Bukan telur.
Intervention, oke? Jadi terpengaruh dalam bahasa Indonesia.
Torajanes, they always say teh.
Kenapa bukan itu?
Menendang.
Problemnya
Menendang.
teori and reality gitu. Teorinya tadi intervention menarik kan, siapa yang punya itu? Penelitianmu.